Guys, I am elated. I am absolutely elated about the latest storm in a teacup, if you will, or maybe a controversy, mostly played out on Twitter, but no doubt that this will very soon spill over to other social medias. And what I'm talking about is the issue of the big debate or the big, I don't want to say divide, but the big disagreement regarding H1-B visas for foreign workers. Elon Musk and then Vivek Ramaswamy made some comments in support of the H1-B visas, and then the opponents of this program immediately came out criticizing them, and it became a fairly big topic, a fairly big issue all over Twitter for the most part. And it kind of snowballed. There were a lot of heated arguments, spirits ran high. And of course, there was a lot of back and forth. Certain account got banned or demonetized. They lost the badge. A lot of people criticized Elon Musk for stifling free speech, even though in the beginning, when he took Twitter over, he presented himself as a champion of freedom of speech. And then, of course, Musk came back with his response, and Vivek, and back and forth between many accounts. And my first reaction was to be a little bit bummed out, a little bit saddened by this, because I always had the feeling and the perception that in the, let's just say, the conservative sphere, public sphere, or the right wing, we always fought face to face. The dirty laundry of everybody was always brought to the fore. Whereas on the left, they always, not always, but with few exceptions, they leave their discussions, their disagreements to the back doors, which is how it should be, in my opinion. So obviously, it's good to have a lot of opinions, a lot of differences to hash it out. But when it's all too much in the open, it becomes personal, it becomes ugly. And this time on Twitter, I would say that it didn't get very ugly. It didn't really get super nasty, super vicious, super malicious. Again, it's new. It's just started in the past day or two, maybe, if that much. And after a little while, I sort of had an epiphany, if you want, or just a bright moment, because on January 6th, 2021, when the biggest insurrection happened, and Donald Trump threatened to overthrow democracy and so on and so forth, the left immediately came out with this hysterical screeches and howls of defending democracy, and that the right and Republicans and the MAGA are trying to overthrow and overtake and destroy democracy. And I said to myself, you know what? They're right from a certain perspective, or they should be right. The right, or not just the right, everyone should be attacking democracy. We have so many problems. And regardless of where you stand on the spectrum, we see that the problems are systemic. In other words, the problems, or many problems, stem from the system in and of itself, or the inability or the lack of resolving these problems are closely tied to the system. And I thought that democracies have been around for about 200 years. So the first really experimental and true and robust democracy was here in the United States, and then France followed, and so on and so forth. And slowly over time, the monarchies and the feudal system was phased out. Actually, the feudal system was de facto phased out already beforehand. But the case in point is that there was a shift, or there was a transition from monarchies and a very oppressive system for most people to a freer system. Of course, it's not perfect, but I figured that now is the time to think of replacing democracy with the next step in human development or human advancement. And many people, myself included, have had the impression that for the past couple decades, humanity does not advance. That's one more point that almost nobody likes to admit, is that most of our problems stem from the fact that we're having it so good, or more precisely, we're having it so good materially that the material advancement in the world, but especially in the Western world, has far, far outpaced our spiritual development or our spiritual advancement. Here's to Johnny Walker. And now this gives me hope, because the fact that such an important issue is able to be hashed out between a lot of people who don't know each other personally, a lot of people who are not physically in the same space, a lot of people who disagree vastly. It's not just a one or two poll. It's pretty close to it, but it's not only. So there's a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas that are being thrown out and come out. And at a certain point, I said, why are you sad? Why are you pissed about this? This is in the aggregate, this is positive, this is good. Look at people in the public sphere hashing it out. And yes, it's volatile. Yes, there were a lot of strong feelings and anger and so on and so forth. So yeah, it did slip to beyond the polite discussion, and there were a lot of spirits ran high, definitely. But in the end, we're still hashing it out. And the fact of the matter that Elon responded, I'm not saying he always responded the right thing, but he did respond. He defended himself. So I think that this is a step forward, and it shows that we might not be ready, but we are getting ready to make a newer form of government, of self-government, right? Democracy comes from the people, demos, and that is the people. So maybe the fact that this came out in this fashion, in this way, is an indication that we are ready to be more self-governing. And of course, the first prerequisite, the first requirement for this is to be more involved and more directly involved. And that's an immense problem. People don't normally think about it, but it's a huge problem that people don't get involved very often in things that they don't directly feel connected to or attracted to, unless all they want is power and the benefits and so on. So case in point, take on a county level, a school board. Who becomes a member of the school board? Someone who's either their kids are in school or they want some sort of power and control over something. Very few are truly idealistic and truly care about education. So that is because they can make more money somewhere else, in either an employment or private sector. And of course, you can relate this thing to many other areas. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say now. That on the face of it, it looks bad, and there's no doubt in my mind that the next thing is that the left is going to swoop down on this issue like vultures on a carcass and start pecking it and grinding it to death and shoving it in our face and showing, oh, look at this, the mega movement is crumbling. Is nothing of the sort. It's a little flash in the pan. It's a storm in a teacup, and it's a very, very good storm in a teacup. So in the aggregate, I'm happy that it came out. Yes, there were some ugly things. Laura Loomer lost her credentials on Twitter, and then there was some sort of answer that, well, she's not really banned, she's just demonetized. But we know that it more or less comes to pretty much almost the same. And again, this issue in and of itself is worthy of examining and hashing it out. To what extent can you limit people or to take away your rights, right? Because if you do this, then why or how, in what merit can we complain about banks debanking people whom they disagree with, right? So a lot of important topics came up, a lot of good discussion, a lot of mature discussion, a lot of it was respectful, and of course a lot of it was very heated. So I think that if this happened in an actual physical place, if you have been in a bar or somewhere in a public square, this might have been an example of a very heated discussion that didn't come to hand, or barely just, a couple punches, a couple slaps flown, but there wasn't a big melee, there were no injuries. So I think that this would be an analogy to that, and I think that it behooves all of us, whatever side of the discussion you are on. I think that this should be a very, very teachable moment, and we can learn about it, and we can definitely hash things out and get together and figure out what the right answer is. And I'm sure that there is no simple, clean cut, simple single answer, and that it involves many, many things. If you just read through it, and I myself, I'm not really knowledgeable about the issue, so that's why I'm kind of careful of expressing an opinion. But I'm just seeing how it plays out and what people are saying, and I'm saying, this guy's got a point, that guy's got a point. Of course, we have to examine the facts, what's true, what's not true, what's exaggerated, what's not exaggerated. But all in all, I think that Twitter, even though social media has been out for a long while, and I've seen this trend and tendency, but I think that this is the first time that it came out in a very explosive and big way that didn't turn like super, super ugly or hateful or nasty. Of course, there is kind of a schism there, but I don't think it's yet a big divide. I don't think it actually breaks the movement. I think in the aggregate it will, or at least it should, strengthen the movement. So thanks all of you who have participated in this. If you agree or if you like this, please pass it on, either paraphrasing or the direct link. I don't really care, but I think it's a great idea. So thank you to all the participants. Thank you for all those who have ideas, and keep sharing the ideas and keep criticizing what you think is worthy of criticism, and keep promoting or keep strengthening what you think is true and worth of strengthening. So keep it up, guys. Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it peaceful. And I hope that all of the people who have been punished or affected one way or another should very soon be reinstated. So thanks all of you again, and let's make let's make a war on democracy, and let's make a true ruling or a true governing self-governance. I think, yeah, that's what I wanted to bring out, that this was a very, very good teachable moment in self-governance. Of course, it's way simpler than running a country or even a city or a town or a village, but I think that we've seen today that humanity, despite all of the terrible problems that we have domestically, internationally, in a way, I think this is a sign of maturity, that humanity made a step forward in the right direction. So underneath the dirty laundry, there is kind of a silver lining and a good, maybe a good morale to the story. So thank you, all of you, and take care, and keep it up, keep it nice, keep it clean and civil, and let's hope that we get the best possible outcome. And when push comes to shove, when it comes to legislation in Congress and in the Senate, then our so-called representative, our public masters, our public servants, yeah, they're not our public masters at all. They truly do the will of the people. They just go because they want to serve, and they become multi-millionaire on the way as a collateral. It's just a consequence, but they didn't do it for them. But anyway, I'm sliding it to another topic as usual. So take care, guys. Have a great weekend, a great Hanukkah, great Shabbos, whatever it is, great Christmas, Merry Christmas. Been 2 days ago, but I'm sure that some sects or some strains of Christianity will celebrate it at a different date. So take care, guys. Have a good one, and thank you again.